Hello and welcome to episode 29 of the What If South is Up podcast, where we talk about the ups and downs of creating worlds from scratch and the misadventures we experience along the way. In a nutshell, how to wing it like an author. My name is Derrick Hall. I'm creator of the Crimson Prophecy and Horizon Gamelet series, available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, and pretty much anywhere else you want to find a book. And I am here with my co-host, Christina LaFay.
Hello. I'm in the middle of building my first world, a magical parallel Earth where colonization never happened in the Americas, and reworking my first novel for like the fourth time, with the working title of Cogs and Claws. This is a great start.
You're doing
Derrick,
great.
I'm doing great. Derrick, what are you drinking tonight?
I am drinking a mixture of whatever I found in the liquor cabinet. It is chocolate Kahlua and cream.
Ooh.
Homemade
actually sounds
Kahlua to
pretty
boot.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
It's good stuff. It's been kicking around for 4 years now. It's a 2019 vintage, so it's good and strong.
Nicely aged.
Yeah, it's tasty. What do you have?
Well, it's not winter, it's still fall, but it feels like winter. And I tend to drink wine in the winter, so that's what I'm enjoying tonight. It's something called a Purple Passion, and it's perfect.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it's hitting the spot.
Is it a specific kind of wine or just a blend or?
The bottle's in the other room, so
Fair enough.
I'm gonna say it's a blend.
Fair enough.
I'm gonna act like I know what I'm talking about. My hubby picked it up for me, so.
Oh, hey. That's very thoughtful.
Yeah, I'm not gonna complain it in the least.
Yeah, no. Never complain about free booze. So what have you been reading or watching?
Let's see. Nothing, because I've been nanoing.
Fair.
And like last time I said I was doing the NaNoWriMo thing, and I really haven't written as many words as I want to. But I've been really working hard on my outline. I know. Last time I said, if I hit a bump, I'm just going to work on this later blurb in its place and keep going.
I told you that wouldn't work.
It didn't work.
I knew it wouldn't.
It's just not going to work.
Hate to say I told you so.
Well, it's going to work for little tiny things like, little things like, what is this person's name? But it's not going to work for
Red.
It's not going to work
George.
for the bigger things. So
Harry. Ron.
yeah, so I've been instead focusing really hard on making sure I have a very, very detailed outline so that when I do start to write the words, I don't have to worry about being derailed.
Yeah, fair.
And you? What are you reading or watching?
I'm reading what I'm sure everyone knows I'm reading, and I've been on a weird history deep dive in the last couple of weeks, mainly revolving around military history, so a lot of documentaries and memoirs and things like that. Learning random little tidbits that keep sparking book ideas that I don't have time to write.
I just remembered.
North Carolina.
Yeah, that happened.
It definitely happened.
So I did forget that I did actually watch something since last time. My hubby and I went out to see the Marvels.
Oh yeah, how was that?
I loved it. My husband was lost, but I loved it.
I've heard a lot of mixed things about how terrible it is, and almost nothing positive.
No, it was fun. It was funny. If you really understood Miss Marvel, right, and you paid attention in the Infinity Wars, and you understood the Marvel world, I think you could get really into it. I feel almost angry that it's getting such bad reviews, only because it's a female lead cast. So I feel like people aren't even trying to like it, but that's just my
I don't even think that's the issue because like Black Widow did fine and that was a female lead.
It did to a point, but yes, I loved Black Widow, but it had a lot more.
Great.
I also think that part of the problem was it was too short. So they tried to, they needed to say a lot, but they kept the movie to under 2 hours.
Ooh,
so, an hour and 45 minutes wasn't enough time to tell the story.
Yeah.
What movie was I watching the other day? Not the Avengers, Justice League. They gave it 2 hours and 20 minutes, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But they couldn't give these guys 2 hours. It was just, I think that was part of the problem.
Maybe they were nervous about it and didn't want it to be super long.
Well, they should have done it so they could finish the stories. But it was
struggled with their script because I've heard it said that a perfect movie adaptation is a short story, not a novel.
Okay.
So somewhere in the like 20 to 25K range is perfect for a movie because you can take that and adapt it to about 2 hours. Whereas if you try to take a novel or a novella or something longer, it gets difficult because there's just so much there.
I'll just say that if you really were not immersed in the Miss Marvel world, you would have been totally lost.
That's fair. I tried to watch Miss Marvel, and I think I got 2 episodes in and gave up. So
I loved it. I absolutely adored it. I loved it.
You also enjoyed She-Hulk, so
I enjoyed She-Hulk.
For taste.
Oh, yeah. I did enjoy She-Hulk. I did. Yes, I loved the breaking of the third wall. I liked the campiness and the honesty of it. Yeah, I did.
Fair enough. Somebody's got to like it, right?
Somebody's got to like it. But anyways.
Excuse me.
So since our last time, have you encountered or solved any author or world building problems?
I'm still like the biggest customer that the Struggle Bus has. I really need to get back to book 3. Like really, really need to get back to book 3. But I also need to finish up the special edition of 10 levels, and all of that keeps getting mentally pushed aside by shiny new ideas that I want to do something with, but can't do something with right now because I have too many projects on my plate and deadlines that have basically been blown away at this point and all kinds of things. So I'm both intrigued and annoyed by the shiny new ideas.
Yeah.
But I have ideas for later when I finally do get to them. So
that's one thing that I'm thankful for is that this long, drawn-out process of me trying to write this one first novel, I have not had any bright ideas sneak up on me and overtaken my concentration or, my focus.
Oh,
I mean, I'm sure if I sat down and allowed myself to think of ideas, I'd think of 1,000. And I've kind of just turned off that part of my brain because I know that if I get a new shiny thing, I will never finish the story, and then I will feel horrible about it when I'm 86 years old looking back on my life. So,
yeah, I'm kind of that crow that keeps bringing little bits of foil and wrappers back to the nest and not knowing what to do with them. I have a doc in my writing folder that is probably pushing 200 pages at this point, and it's all story ideas.
Oh, wow.
Some of them, like, I wrote a chapter or whatever, so they took up some space, but it's ridiculous how many things I have in my head that I want to do, and, little things pop into my brain, and I'm like, oh, I could do that, and I'm in the middle of something else. Just make a note of it and move on. So many ideas.
I probably only have like 10 in my Scrivener. I have one place where I can put like story ideas for magnets or novellas or other books in a series. I think, honestly, I might have 12 if I'm lucky. I mean, I have no fear that I'll have plenty of ideas when I need them. I'll come up with them. I don't worry about that at all.
No, that's completely fair. So, what problems have you encountered or solved?
So I learned that as sexy as a wrist cross looks, and the idea of it is to design one that actually works for more than just show, And then to describe how Anisha's making one is not feasible. I can't do it. I just can't.
Yeah, they're
make
tricky,
it
aren't they?
happen.
They're cool, but they're tricky.
They're cool. They're tricky. They look sexy, but I just need this for like a really small portion of a chapter, and it would take way too much time to explain all the mechanism thingies, you know. So instead, she's gonna make a. Well, never mind. That would be a spoiler. So, anyways, I came in for something else.
I was going to suggest just a really compact, like, takedown short bow.
Nope, I decided on something completely different. So, completely different.
Fair enough.
And I'll tell you after the show.
Okay, fine. I see how you are.
Yes, I can give you spoilers, but not them out there.
Fair enough. I try not to give spoilers either. But every week we like to share one sentence from our current works in progress, a single sentence with no context. Xtina, are you ready for Dead Darlings?
Yep.
What do you got?
The only thing worse than never being asked for your opinion is when a pack of people are staring at you waiting for one.
No shit. Oh, I hate that so much. It's like the first time you have to give a speech in class.
Yeah.
Hate it. That is
Guys,
such a relatable line.
Oh, and what do you have for us today?
As the great beast bowed its head in reverence to the goddess, she and her follower disappeared in a blaze of light, leaving the animal alone on the sand and the crowd dumbstruck.
Dun, dun, dun. That could work.
That could work. Yeah, okay. If I ever finish that particular story idea, it'll work fine.
It'll work fine.
Might get structured a little bit, but it'll work fine.
It'll work fine. I like it. It's
sitting
good.
on that one for a year. All right.
Okay. Now, on to the point of the show and our favorite game. Each week we roll a D20, which helps us randomly choose from our perpetual list of 20 scenarios. And then we talk about how that scenario, would affect our made-up ad hoc worlds. Derek, are you ready?
I am going to do the thing.
Okay.
Our roll today is a 5. What if live dinosaurs were discovered?
Well, we do have live dinosaurs. They're called chickens.
I see what you did there, and I still don't like it. For real, though. Dinosaurs as in Anisha is out deer hunting or something and pops over the ridge and there's a freaking T-Rex at the bottom of the valley or something like that.
So, I think Anik should be intrigued. I think everyone else should be wondering why they never saw one before, and another set of people would figure out how they could eat it.
I mean, I am totally down to eat some T-Rex. Let's do it. Probably tastes like chicken.
I mean, they would want to hunt it. They would want to find a way to...
Yeah, I would get the biggest gun I could possibly find. I ain't going after no T-Rex with no spear.
Think about dinosaurs, though, is they poop a lot.
Yes.
And literally a shit ton.
That is one way of saying that, yes.
So it'd be weird that they'd never saw one before. So in my world, it'd have to be something that just appeared, right?
Which in your world is a possibility.
In my world, it's a possibility. So it's just something that would just suddenly appear. And I think that I don't know that they would take the time to study it and revere it and all those things. I think they'd literally try to find a way to make use of it as food and not just kill it for the glory of killing it, but finding a way to make use of it. Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine what they could do with dinosaur bones? You know?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Right.
Tools. Could you imagine the leather?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. T-Rex leather. Oh,
I'll take
yeah.
some
I bet it's,
T-Rex boots
yeah, I bet they're waterproof. Yeah.
and tough as hell.
You're right.
Yeah. I can appreciate that. I think a lot of cultures would be like, hey, there's this big thing, I'm going to kill it. And you'd end up with a Dragon Slayer mentality and less, how can I use this thing? So if something like that just appeared in my world, I don't have the like interconnected parallel dimensions that you have to make things just appear. So it would probably be a big question of why didn't we know about this? Is it dangerous? And what do we do now?
Yeah.
Especially once you figure out that it is dangerous. So,
Yeah.
honestly, I think your herbivores wouldn't really bother anybody. I could see them potentially even ending up as livestock in some cases. Being domesticated, used to pull carts or that sort of thing.
Dinotopia.
Yeah. Carnivores would probably end up as something that is either avoided or hunted. Probably avoided for the most part and hunted when needed. Kind of like bears today. Just keep them away from people and everything will be fine.
Yeah.
So I think that's where that would kind of end up. I think everybody would be really confused for a hot minute, though.
I think everyone would be, in my world, would be confused too. And I think that if it was just one, right, they would, I don't think they would let it hang out. But if they discovered, I don't know, they fell down a hole to the middle of the earth or whatever one of those stories are, and they found a whole shit ton of them, a whole lot of them, I think that they wouldn't just want to start killing them all.
We already set a precedent for shit ton. You're good.
I think that they would find a way to, I can't say farming because the concept of farming is different for Western culture versus some of the Native American cultures.
Mm-hmm. It's less farming in the European tradition and more management.
It's more it's more wildlife management in the whole planting the special plants so that you can get that animal here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, of not planting particular plants because you don't want that animal here.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Or you want to plant plants of this kind so you attract this animal, which will attract that one. You know?
It's the same way people manage ranches and stuff to grow big deer or bring in the elk and keep the coyotes out or the wolves out or whatever. You know, it's the same thing still in practice, just on a much smaller scale than it used to be.
I think that on a scientific, on this, you know, my society has, you know, an arm of science. Mm-hmm. I think that they would be absolutely intrigued by this. You know, they'd want to study it just like they would in this world, not for profit, but just to understand.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, I don't know, I feel like it would be intriguing. Like, could you imagine a ship in my world setting sail and running across a paleosaur or something like that?
I think that would be absolutely, I think that would bring such a different level to your book.
It
you
could.
Know what I mean?
It could.
I
have some characters on a boat right now.
You've given us this idea, us the reader, an idea of this medieval type of world. But if your people were suddenly fell upon these ancient, prehistoric animals, it would just give us such a different view of your world. We'd see it in a totally different light.
No spoilers.
No spoilers.
I have no plans for dinosaurs in my world, but
if you did,
If I did, it could be really fun. End up with a Loch Ness situation. But it's one of those things that could be really cool because you never know what's out there, and stories of sea monsters have abounded for centuries. So that sort of thing is definitely plausible.
No, I think it's an interesting concept, and I think that I would enjoy writing a story that dinosaurs or big, huge animals like that were gone from the planet. Not a dinotopia thing where the dinosaurs can...
Before time.
Yeah. Not a land before time either. What's that?
Part 57.
Part 57, that's funny.
There's so many of those.
I know there is because my son watched the first one. But I don't know, to incorporate some... It'd be interesting in a world to have some mythological creatures combined with some prehistoric creatures in this world. I think that could be very aesthetically colorful.
It really could be. I mean, you could have a Dinotopia sort of parallel version where the asteroid missed or whatever, and hey, guess what? Now you have dinosaurs in Alaska.
Yeah.
Could be fun.
Could be.
Could be.
You know, I talk a lot
about that.
I'm not going to do that. So I talk a lot about my book, being in Alaska, but to be honest, only like the first third is in Alaska.
That's fair. That's definitely the image I have in my head, though.
Yes, and that's Anisha's world. That's her normal world. That's the world, the way she thinks everything looks. And then she's totally shocked and awed by what she actually finds out.
That's valid. That is absolutely valid. So when I was a kid, we were living in South Carolina and had some family friends from eastern Colorado come visit. And they're used to the wide open, flat, see for 50 miles in any direction, the tallest thing around is the house kind of situation.
Yeah.
Their biggest complaint about the Southeast and the Smoky Mountains and all of that was, it's pretty, but why do the mountains have hair? And if you cut down some trees, you could see something.
Interesting.
Which I just think is hilarious. And then, like, for me, I live in the mountains. I love the mountains. And if I go somewhere where there aren't mountains, it wigs me out. Like, I need that border on the edge of the world to make me feel like I'm not going to fall off.
And what's interesting about that is that before I moved to New Hampshire, I always had water nearby. And I don't mean a lake. I mean, I had an ocean nearby because I always lived in the coastal states or on an island.
Oh, yeah.
And so the first time I moved to New Hampshire, I couldn't even get my bearings. I couldn't even tell northwest, east, or south because I had no shoreline to point to. It took me a while to figure out which way was up.
Well, a few years ago, about 5 years ago, I drove back up here from Texas through Oklahoma, Colorado, that neighborhood. And Oklahoma messed with my brain because it was so wide open and there was nothing at all to get your bearings off of. No trees, no houses, no nothing. And like, I legit had a panic attack because I couldn't figure out which direction I was going.
So I just came through Oklahoma last spring.
I'm so sorry.
And you know what they have miles and miles and miles of solar farms.
Oh, yeah.
So what used to be, you can't see anything for miles. If you drive at night, it looks like you're driving through several airports. It looks like runway lights all over the place.
Well, you got to do something with all that useless land that everyone flies over.
Oh, I think it's brilliant, but it was just so interesting. I just had
that's like South Dakota too. It's more rolling hills, but it's covered in wind farms. So you'll just see wind turbines for
Oh, I meant,
miles and
did I say
miles
solar
and
farm?
miles.
Did I say solar farms? I meant wind farms.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. South Dakota did that. And like
Yeah.
when I moved out here, I drove through South Dakota, which was the most boring part of that trip because we didn't see another car for 6 or 8 hours at a time. But it's just windmills
Windmill.
and weird wannabe Canadians on snowmobiles. Like that's all it was. The most interesting thing that happened all day on that drive was some dude on the side of the road on a sled keeping up with us at 80 going down the highway waving like, oh, hey, another person, eh? You know, like, so yeah, it's really interesting to me, different parts of the country and how they, what is considered normal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like where I live, it's normal to drive an hour and a half or 2 hours to go shopping. And, you know, you go to California, LA, San Diego, San Francisco, any of the bigger metropolitan areas of California, you can drive an hour and a half or 2 hours and go 2 miles. So
New England's interesting to me because you literally cannot go for 3 hours without hitting another state.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I just, that concept just was, it's mind-boggling, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I could actually drive for 8 hours and hit 5 different states.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe 6 if I try, you know. And that's just amazing.
See, I could do that and make a big circle and hit probably 4 or 5.
Well, you're just going in the itty bitty corners of it.
Yeah.
So that
You're
don't
going to the
count.
middle of it.
I'm going
Well, like when I lived in Maryland, I lived within 20 miles of 5 different states.
Yeah. Isn't that insane?
Like the part of the state I lived in on the interstate was only 10 miles wide.
And you know what drives me most nuts about that is when you're looking for a service, like you want to get your, I don't know, your lawn taken care of, you want to get a repairman. You search by state and they don't make no sense because, okay, you know, you're right, because you're closer to these other states, so you have to search all the states all the time. If I'm looking for something around here that I want to purchase, like on a marketplace or something, I can't look in my state because I live in the middle of nowhere in my state, and there's other states closer that have better things. So
yeah. So like where I lived in Maryland, I could get on a bicycle and in half a day go through 3 states.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was ridiculous. But anyways, I'm currently in the middle of nowhere, and I think I'm about 2 hours from a state line at the closest, and I'll take that. That's fine.
So Brian and I 3 years ago visited Washington State, all right?
Mm-hmm.
And we put about 2,000 miles on the car. We never crossed the same road twice. You know, we're never on the same road twice. And we were all within the state and only the western half of the state, you know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's super easy to do.
In Montana is the same, but Washington's huge. It's huge compared to New England.
Yeah. And Montana is absolutely massive.
Mm-hmm.
Like, a lot of people don't realize how big it is. But if you take a map and pick Montana up and drop it onto Texas, it's like 60% the size of Texas, and Texas is insane. So, yeah, Montana is huge.
Yep. But
I think I read somewhere that you can fit all of the UK inside of Montana like 2.5 times or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, it's nuts.
But you know why Texans don't like Alaska, right?
They're intimidated.
Because if Alaska was cut in half, Texas would be the third largest state.
Right?
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
That's how big Alaska is.
Montana's down here just hanging out in third place as it is. We're fine. All right, well, that was fun. We got sidetracked on some American geography there.
Some tangents for ya.
Oh yeah, we're good at those. That was fun. If you're a world builder, newbie or not, and would like to be on our show, we would love to have you. That includes all of you D&D, tabletop RPG, game masters, writers, authors, anyone who creates worlds. You can let us know by going to our website, whatifsouthisup.com, and leaving us a message, or you can reach us through our Facebook page.
And we're always interested in what-if questions to add to our list. If your world has something interesting about it and you'd like to pose it to us and see how it plays out in our worlds, we'd love to hear from you. So, Derrick, how can folks find you on the digital out thing, interwebby thing?
That thing. My website is derrickhallauthor.com, but you can also find me as D Hall Author on Facebook, Clock App, and just about anywhere else. What about you?
My website is uniquelyxtina.com, but I can be found on just about any of the socials as uniquelyxtina. I'm most active on Facebook and TikTok.
Fair enough. All right, everybody, we hope you enjoyed our digressions, and we will see you next time on What If South is Up.
See you next time. What if South is up? What if it's up? What if it's up? What if South is up?
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba, you're losing it.